Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. In this video, we are going to program the chess game as the one you saw at the start of the video. Right, so what is the purpose of the chess game? Using the chess game, we are going to practice some artificial intelligence programming that are used for programming games. Now, the artificial intelligence that we saw at the start of the video, as we were playing as a rat, all the other cats were following us and trying to catch us. So our objective in the game was to evade all the cats and keep alive as long as possible and increase the score as much as possible. Right. And a similar variant of the game that I didn't show, we also had that was the cat game, in which we had to catch all the rats that were fleeing from us. Right. Now, the artificial intelligence used in that game is technically called steering behaviors. So in this video, we are actually going to program some of the steering behaviors that we saw at the start. Right. Now there are two parts to the project. The first part is the visualization, the overall screen display, and the second part is the programming of the AI. All right, so the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to create some new header files. All the code that we have, we are not going to write it in a single file, but we will distribute all the code into different files. So let's first work on creating the different files that we have. The first file that we're going to have is ai.h. This will include the AI headers. The next file that we have is character.h. This will include all the data structures related to the characters that we have in the game. Kinematic.h. This will store all the related physics information of the complete game. Right, so these are the headers that are made, and now let's create the related CPP files as well. So we can add the relevant code to them. And kinematics. All right, so the first thing that we're going to start with is the kinematic.h, because this is the fundamental part of the complete system that we're going to make. This is going to define the physics of the complete system. So let's do that. So this is a steering structure that we have. It contains only a single float of an array of float that provides the linear acceleration to the robot. Now let's program the physics class. So this is all the code that we have in kinematic.h. We have this steering structure over here, and then we have this kinematic class over here. The kinematic class stores the position velocity of the particle that we have. And we have this initializer over here, the initializer. Then we have two functions, update and update position. Now update uses steering information, the forces information, to update the velocity and position of the particle. The update position directly updates based on the change of x and change of y. Now we require this for the player character that we have. In order to control the player effectively, we are going to use the arrow keys for that. In order to control we are not going to use any force-based models on our character. Therefore, we need the update position as such to control our character. Then we have these two getter functions, get position and get velocity. Right, so the kinematic.h is defined. Now let's define the header file for character.h. Okay, so here we have the character header file. In this character header, we are only going to create a single class called the character. Now character is going to store the kinematic state that we have just written in the kinematic header file. And this is also going to have the update state and update position. Now these will be directly used by the main program to update the state and the position of the robot. These internally, we are going to define them in such a way that they update the kinematic state of the robot. Also, we are also using this SFML library over here. This is to initialize the circle shape. Now, all the particles that we saw were in the shape of a circle, so that's why we are defining it. So every character that is present on the screen is going to have a circle shape entity associated with it, which is going to be rendered all together finally in the complete program. Right, so we have completed two header files. Now let's head on to ai.header. So let's define that as well. All right, here we have the AI header file. In this, we are going to define two functions, kinematic seek and kinematic pursue. Now, why we are defining two functions? This is just to increase, or we can say adjust the difficulty of the AI that we have. Now, the kinematic seek is going to be a really simple function. It's just going to pursue the target position directly. But the kinematic pursue is going to be a little more intelligent than the seek function. Instead of going behind the target, it is going to predict the velocity of the target. It actually knows the velocity and going to predict the final position of the target. So the pursue will actually go to the predicted position instead of the original position that we have. So this is slight intelligence we are going to introduce in the pursue function over there. Right, now we have defined the three header files. Now, one by one, now let's write their code. First of all, we're going to start with kinematic.cpp. All right, here we are done with the kinematic.cpp. Here we have defined the constructor function. It's simply reassigning the values. The update function, now this is updating the position of the character and updating the velocity of the character as well. This is being using the steering.linear as we discussed. This is using a force-based model to update the velocity. And then we also have the update position. Now there are two certain variables that we're also introducing. These are mod x and mod y. Actually, these are actually being used to calculate the mod or modulus of the position as well. Now, why we are doing this? So that the characters that are present on the screen actually loop around back to the where it started, right? If it goes towards the right, then it will start out towards left. Similarly, from bottom, it will come out till top and so on. Now, that's why we are computing this mod value to update, to keep the parameters as such. Right. Now let's get on with character.cpp. All right, so here we have this. Now the character, we have defined the character constructor. It's simply initializing the SFML entity, the circle shape. It's initializing the kinematic state that we have, and we're storing the height and width of the window as well. Now you would ask why. This is again for the modulo change that we're going to apply. So the characters can loop around. Right, then we have the update state. It's doing the same thing, updating the state using steering. And behind the scenes, it's actually calling the update function of the state. Similarly, we have the update position, which is also calling the update position. And the rest of the code is just to apply modulo function as well. Right, so we have defined the character over here. Now, the final thing we need to do is to write the ai.cpp as well. So let's do that. All right, here we have the ai.cpp file ready as well. In this, we are defining two constants, which are the maximum speed and max prediction. Maximum speed is going to limit the speed of all the different particles to 1, and max prediction is the prediction time that we should actually take the maximum. Right, now kinematic seek is a very simple AI algorithm. We are simply calculating the target, the difference between the target position and the character position. We are then normalizing it with the maximum speed that we can have. And then we are returning the steering or the force that we need to do. The pursue is a little more involved one. It's actually a delegated steering behavior. In this, we are first calculating the distance to the target. Then we are calculating the velocity. And then we are checking, then we are calculating the prediction. Now we are taking the prediction. Max prediction is the maximum time the prediction can go on. But if the prediction is for a lesser amount of time, we will take that as well. Then we calculate the target, the future target position by taking into account the prediction using the velocity. And then we pass in the same when we return the kinematic seek function with this new target and the character. Now, since it is making use of kinematic seek again, that is why it's called a delegated steering behavior. Right, so both of these are done. Now we have defined all the backend of the code that we needed, the AI part. Now let's jump right back to the animation part, or we can say the rendering part. All of that code is going to go into the main.cpp file. So let's do this now. All right, here we have the final main.cpp file. In this, we have included all the character.h, kinematic.h, AI.h, and some other libraries as well. The first thing that we do is initialize the render window on which the different rendering is going to be performed. Here is the size that we have specified and the title. Then we get the size of the window and initialize player and enemies. So we are initializing 8 enemies that are around the player using the constructor that we defined before. Then we load the font and set the score as well. Now, how the score is defined, we are actually calculating the number of seconds elapsed from the start, and that is how the score is actually defined. So in the rat game, the more the score, the better we have. And then we are forming a loop that will run until the window is open, and we intercept the keyboard event and update the position. That's why we defined the update position before. Then we check if the rat is caught. Now, how we do that? We just get the state and the position of the enemies and the player one by one. Then we calculate the difference between the positions, the difference between them, if it is less than 5, or we can adjust this based on the difficulty of the game that we want. And if it is less than 5 or any parameter that we set, then we close the window. Then we are defining the AI of the complete program. Now, half of the enemies are using kinematic seek algorithm and half of them are using kinematic pursue algorithm. Then we do some clearing. Now, how the SFML works, it first runs a frame iteration and then it clears the frames and then it re-renders the characters that we have on the screen one by one. So this clearing is just a for rendering purposes, no such as we can do with it. Then we draw the entities on the system and then we calculate the score as well. And we keep displaying the window as the loop goes along. Right. Now, all these files are now defined. Now we can simply build the files and directly run them. So let's build the files and then we'll see if we get any errors that we have. So let's do that now. All right, so here is the game that we had. It ended very quickly. Okay, so it finally works and everything else is also working. Now these are the bin files for the, I'll just show what the bin also has. Like the complete execution or files were compiled in this bin folder. In this, we also have the font.ttf that we defined for the score. Over here, we need this font.ttf file to be present in the same directory as we are building the final executable program. Main.exe is the final executable program that we have, and other are the DLL files, the additional SFML DLL files. I was not able to get a static based compiling. I think, yeah, I was not able to get a static based compiling. That's why I have to keep all these files in one folder as such. But there are some ways in which we can do dynamic compiling as well. If I'm getting the two mixed, I'm sorry for that. But we can get to dynamic compiling as well, in which we don't require all the other DLL files. But that's something beyond the scope of this video. We are just coding the complete files. Right now, this is the basic structure of how the file is going to look. Now, there are various ways we can improve over this simple application that we made. Some of them would be like adjusting the AI to varying difficulties. The one way we can increase the difficulty is by increasing the max prediction time and max speed. Also, we can reduce this, increase this offset that we have that compares the distance between the two. This way we can adjust the difficulty of the program as well. Now, one other thing that we can do is, now this was more of a chase game in which we had to escape the pursuers. We can also create a game in which we have to catch the different things and we are the single pursuer in that case. Now, how we would go about doing that is in the ai.cpp. If we can come over here, let's just close this as well. In this ai.cpp, where we have kinematic.seek, we can define a new function that we can have. We can name this as kinematic flee. what this will do, the only difference in this is we are going to invert these positions, the target position and the corrector position. This way we are going to have a flee behavior. Flee type. We are going to have a flee behavior. It's simply doing that. This. Right. This is how we define a kinematic flee. It is exactly opposite to what we have for the kinematic seek. Similarly, we can have a complete opposite version of kinematic pursue as well. Now that is going to be almost the same. Let's define that. Kinematic pursue. The opposite of this would be kinematic evade. Now the code will remain exactly the same, but the only difference here is in the delegation part, we're going to call the kinematic flee instead of kinematic seek. This way we can define two more functions that are completely opposite in behavior, and we can use them to define more games. Right, so the final thing that you saw was in the start of the video. In the start, I had also put some extra title files and difficulty selection files so that we can make the implication more interesting. That's one thing altogether. Now, all the code that I have written and for the application that I have shown before is present in the GitHub file, GitHub link that I will put in the description. Other than that, you can also check out the game that we have, the final game that we developed, and let your score and type in the score that you got in the comment section below. All right, so if you like the video, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.